confidence is not a feeling. Confidence is embodied in action. My definition of confidence is the willingness to try. I'm going to say it again. Your new definition of confidence, embodied by the research. Confidence is the willingness to try. Confidence is an action. That's what it is. And this phenomenon has been heavily researched by social psychologists, and there's even a term for confidence being an action. See, there's this positive feedback loop that happens when you're willing to try something before you feel ready. When you're willing to step into that leadership role and put yourself out there and take risks and make mistakes and shove that self-doubt to the side. When you're willing to try, neuroscience research says that you create something called a confidence-competence loop. Every single time you try something new, you're either going to be really good at it or you're going to be terrible at it, right? But you always learn something.
Need motivation?
You better watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because the thing that saved me as an entrepreneur was watching the stories of other successful entrepreneurs, and I learned from their advice, I learned from their motivation, and honestly, I have no idea where I would be if I didn't have those videos to inspire me. I still need them for myself today too, and I hope that they can inspire you as well. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Mel Robbins, and my take on her top 10 rules of success. Enjoy.
If you try something for the first time, you're either going to fail or succeed, but you always learn something. And that's where this confidence-competence loop and the neuroscience research comes in. Because even when you try, when you learn a little something, you gain a little competency, right? Because of everything that you learned the first time around, it gets a little bit easier. It gets a little bit better, but it all begins with being willing to try, no matter where you're starting from. Because if you are the kind of person that's always willing to try, you will always grow and you will always learn. And the more that you try and the more that you learn, the less you doubt yourself, the less resistance that you have, and bada bing, bada boom, all of a sudden you feel confident in this new role. All of a sudden you feel confident doing a backflip off a boat because you tried 1,000 times and you belly flopped and you embarrassed yourself and you got a wedgie. And then what do you know? Because you were willing to keep trying, all of that competency that got gained of trying over and over and over and over again, it's how you gained mastery. See, feeling confident is kind of, it's almost like the wrong way to say it, because that's what you feel after you've done it over and over and over again. But true confidence begins the moment you're willing to try.
Rule number 2, develop good habits.
Sarah's question was this: are there ways to unlock sudden, rapid steps to big change in a short period of time, or is this a dangerous misconception? Now, I said yes. There is a way for you to experience big change in a short period of time if you change how you view yourself. I mean, that's the biggest kind of change that you can experience. When you change your identity, when you change what you believe is possible, that's transformational. Now, one other thing that Sarah said, though, is she asked, is it a dangerous misconception to think that big change happens immediately? And that brings me to the topic of habits. See, change doesn't happen overnight. But when you understand the science of habits, what you realize is that change, little change, it compounds daily. And the massive change that you experience in a short period of time when you focus on habit formation is how you relate to yourself. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that you set a goal, that this is the year that you are going to run your first marathon. You're going to train for it. You're going to finish the race. Now, it will take time. It's going to take you time to achieve that goal. But if you make it a habit to wake up every day and get out the door and go for that training run, within a matter of days, something kind of crazy happens. You experience this massive change because you start to see yourself differently. You start to see yourself as a runner. Now, have you achieved that goal yet? No. That's going to take time. But the power of habits is that as you practice them, they start to change your identity. They become evidence that you're the kind of person that goes for a run. So in the beginning, habits are just something that you and I do. But over time, habits change who you are.
Rule number 3 is reinvent yourself.
You do have the power to create a better life. You are not meant to white knuckle your way through this thing. You're not meant to be in survival mode. You deserve to be a happier person, and you are capable of identifying your goals and chipping away at them. And you are capable, my friend, of dreaming big. And once you can visualize those big dreams of yours, you can put your head down and you can make those things happen if you're willing to put in the work. I want you to imagine a brand new possibility for your life. And if you, like Sarah, can say, I want to be happy. I want the next chapter of my life to be amazing. If you can just even start there, all you have to do is start to think about what kind of a map do you need in order to chart a course to make that possibility that you see for your life a reality. And I love this topic of reinvention. I love it, love it, love it, because I have this metaphor that I've been using for years when it comes to understanding reinvention. And what is the metaphor? The metaphor that I use is a road trip. That's right. Life is one big road trip. And we're going to use this metaphor of a road trip to demystify the entire concept and process of reinventing yourself or reinventing your life. And for those of you that have listened to my #1 ranked audio series on Audible called Reinvent Your Life, you have heard me talk about this metaphor. And this is such a powerful concept because the fact is, life is a journey. It's one big road trip. And for too many of us, that road trip is boring and monotonous, and I want to shake things up. I want your life to be the most exciting, exhilarating, amazing road trip that you could possibly imagine. And we're all on this big road trip. We all began at the exact same mile marker, 0. Every single year of your life is another mile marker on this twisting, amazing journey called life. For me, I'm at mile marker 54. That is how far down the road I am. And so I want you to stop and just think, okay, well, what mile marker am I at right now? And it's a useful exercise to think about it that way, because when I say to you, hey, I'm at mile marker 54, that tells me that there's a lot of road that I've covered behind me. But guess what? There is a huge open road ahead of me. And when you take responsibility for charting that course of where that open road is going to lead you, you take control of your life. That's what reinvention is all about. It's about creating a map, picking a destination, and charting your course on this road called life. And here's what's exciting about that. You get to choose. You get to choose how fast you're going to drive, whether you're going to take the highway, whether you're going to twist and turn, where you want to go next.
Rule number 4 is prioritize yourself.
I know that I have to take care of me so I can take care of others, but I just have a hard time doing it without feeling that guilt. To me, it literally feels like a child learning to walk. I don't know how to do it without feeling guilt. I want to remove that guilt from inside of me.
Janet, I got some bad news. You can't remove the guilt. I'm going to say that again. When you first start putting yourself first, you will not remove the guilt. And so I just want to be honest about that. But let me give you the 2 takeaways, okay, that are really important, because this really isn't about guilt. This is about you defining for yourself what it means to be a good wife and a good mother and a good person in your eyes. And so I'm going to give you 2 major wake-up calls that I had around this topic, and then I'm going to tell you this crazy story. So the first wake-up call that I got is this notion that the people who love you, they will be annoyed with you when you put yourself first. It is true. They are not going to like it. They like you being the person that you are right now. It is convenient for them that you put them first. It is wonderful, the dynamic that's in place, but it's no longer good for you. So just expect that the people who you love will be annoyed or disappointed or upset when you start putting yourself first. But they're still going to love you. It's not an either or thing, and I'll explain more about that. And second, this is a huge wake-up call. What if the guilt doesn't go away? What if guilt is actually a good thing? What if guilt is super healthy to feel right now? In fact, that's what I believe. I believe that the guilt is good. I believe that the guilt is healthy. And I believe that you can reframe it. See, guilt shows that you care. That's why you feel that way. If you were a narcissistic douchebag, you wouldn't feel guilty at all for putting yourself first. I want to frame guilt in a different way for you, okay? Let's frame it from a bad sign. Ooh, I'm doing something bad. I'm putting myself first, into a good one. Stop seeing guilt as a bad thing because you're not doing anything wrong when you put yourself first. Start seeing guilt as a good thing. Guilt is a sign that you're breaking free of this people-pleasing habit. You feel guilty because putting yourself first is just a new feeling. That's it.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5 is stop making excuses.
Your excuses are bullshit. That's right. All those excuses you got, they're just fear. They are just fear. When you learn the lesson, when you turn toward the friction in your life and you look for either the process or the people or the place that you're living or the place that you work, all of the things, the thinking patterns that you have, the behavior patterns, when you start to identify everybody, all of the areas of friction in your life, and you go to work to learn the lesson, here's what I want you to know. You are capable of changing it. You are 100% capable of learning the lesson and making anything in your life better. I know that is true about you. And that means that the only thing that is keeping you from identifying the things that aren't working and doing the work to move your life into alignment with who you're meant to be and the things that truly make you come alive, the only thing that's preventing you from doing that is you. And your fears, whether you're like any excuse that you have is just fear. You're afraid to try, you're afraid to fail, you're afraid you're too late, you're afraid of this, you're afraid of that. Now's not the right time, I don't have this, I don't have that, this person would be upset with me. All of it is fear. Fear of rejection, fear of it not working out, fear of being disappointed, fear of disappointing others. That's what an excuse is. You're just managing fear. And it's all baloney.
Rule number 6 is overcome procrastination.
Every single time you're procrastinating, it's being triggered by stress. See, that's the crazy thing about procrastination. It has nothing to do with what you need to do. Procrastination, defined in the dictionary, is avoiding or putting something off, delaying it. But when you look at the research, and we're going to dig into that in a minute, the way that researchers define procrastination is that you are avoiding stress. That's what you're avoiding. You're not avoiding the application. You're not avoiding the illustration. You blow off things that take brain power because you are trying to avoid stress. Procrastination is the attempt to feel better in this moment. And strangely, what you're about to learn is that when I walk you through this 3-step research-backed technique that you're going to use every single time that you catch yourself procrastinating, is that procrastination is triggered by stress. That's what it's about. I'm going to say that again. Procrastination is a habit that you have learned and that you repeat whenever you feel stressed. And this comes from research from Dr. Timothy Peichel at Carleton University. His definition of procrastination is this: a subconscious desire to feel good right now. And he shares that procrastination, it's just all about stress. And I'm going to unpack this for you, because when you first hear that, wait, procrastination is a subconscious desire to feel good right now? How the heck does that make sense? I mean, Vidi really wants to draw, Mel. So wouldn't it make sense that she'd feel good if she were drawing? Sort of. Sort of. And I'm going to explain this. It makes sense intellectually, but when I unpack how stress is triggering you to stop doing something that you care about or that you need to do, this is all going to be like, holy cow, why didn't I hear this sooner? So I'm going to give you an example, but I want you to understand that that stress that is triggering you to procrastinate, it could be something going on in your life right now, or it could be deep-seated stress, like childhood trauma. It could be anxiety or depression or something in your past that you haven't dealt with, a situation that you're worried about that's completely unrelated to work or to the things that you need to do. It might just be the relentless pressure and stress that you feel because you are so hard on yourself.
Rule number 7 is be who you are.
And something that I definitely struggle with is with masking and, being afraid to show up as my true, authentic self to all people at all times. Yeah, just any advice would be amazing on how to just get better at doing that and have the confidence to just be my authentic, true self all the time. That would be great. Thank you.
Nella, thank you first and foremost for your honesty. But I'm going to say something a little provocative. You kept saying the words true, authentic self, authentic self, authentic self. And I want you to stop and ask yourself, do you even know who you are? Do you know what it means when you say, I am my true, authentic self? And the reason why I'm asking you this question is because I don't think most people do. I think we want to be our authentic selves. Of course. But what does that even mean? Listening to your question, it reminds me when I was writing The High Five Habit, there was a woman who wrote to me from Ireland, and I ended up getting on the phone and then on a Zoom call, and I spent a lot of time talking to her, and she is in the book. And I want to bring this up because I want to make a point about the pressure that we feel to conform. So in this example of the woman from Ireland, she was writing about the fact that she wanted to get a divorce. That is her true, authentic self. Yet she had been delaying doing this for 7 years because of the pressure of the Catholic Church, because of the disappointment of her mother, because of what the priest might think, because of what the whole freaking country of Ireland might think. And so I'm highlighting this because for some of us, people-pleasing is even deeper than sort of this discomfort. It's the social norm. Like you wouldn't be caught dead in some cultures or in some religions or in some households veering from the norm. The pressure is so intense, it's just the air that you breathe. And for many people, that is the case. And so if that's you, you might not even know what the authentic you is because you have been told for so long by your country, by your religion, by your family, by the community you live in, by whatever, who you're supposed to be. And I'm going to give you a really important exercise. I want you to just imagine that you are a screenwriter, that you are about to write a movie about the real you. Write a character description and describe a day in the life of the real you. Remove the country you live in, remove the religion you grew up with or you didn't, remove the stories that you've been telling yourself or the pressure you feel or the disappointment or what other people think you should or shouldn't do, and write the story, a day in the life of who you are at your core. When you would wake up, where you would live, where you would go, what kind of work you do, what kind of friends that you have. What are your habits? What do you love doing? Who are you laughing with? This is such an important exercise because, again, remember, I told you that people pleasing, it's a balance. And it begins with you truly knowing yourself. And if you don't really know who you are because you've always been told who to be and you've spent your life feeling like you do nothing but conforming, this is a really important step for you to take. Because people-pleasing at its core is you believing the person that you are deep inside that it's not good enough. You're not good enough. And based on what we've talked about, you can start to change that. But you really have to go through the steps of getting curious about who you are for real.
Rule number 8 is embrace change.
Change isn't easy. I wish it were. I wish it were easy. It is easy to identify friction. It is easy to identify your excuses. It is easy to identify the actions that you need to take. But taking those actions and feeling the emotions that come up and dealing with people's reactions, that's not easy. And it's really important for you to accept that and for me to accept that. Because when you accept the fact that change isn't easy, but it's possible, and it's worth it, and you're capable of it, that's the truth.
Rule number 9 is stop comparing.
You got to stop comparing yourself to people whose lives don't look like yours. You will never be able to achieve what somebody who is a single male can achieve because you've got other demands on your time right now. You will never be able to achieve what a 23-year-old can do right now because you've got aging parents and 3 kids and a business to run. And so please stop making yourself feel like because you are looking at somebody who has totally different life circumstances than you. And by the way, this does not mean that there's something wrong with a 23-year-old fitness influencer. I think that's freaking fantastic that somebody's doing that with their life. There's nothing wrong with somebody who is going on a book tour for 3 months. I think that's fantastic. And there's clearly a part of me that wants to do more of that. But at the moment, I got to face reality. And the reality is, based on my values, based on what life looks like right now, I'm not going to do that. But what I can do is figure out what advice I respond to, what changes I want to make, and then I can fit that into my life.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is keep pursuing your dreams.
Do not let the fact that you have spent a certain amount of time, or you're a certain age, or you're too early, or you're too late, or all of that crap to invalidate the truth. The truth is, you're right on time. If you're having the wake-up call that I intend for you to have, as you listen to this, as you're realizing that your dreams are as alive as they have ever been, if you are starting to go, oh my God, I've been against myself, I'm going to be for myself. If you're starting to say, wow, I really have put the lid on. I really have stopped allowing myself or giving myself permission to have something incredible happen in my life. If you're having the wake-up call that I intended, good. Now let me tell you something else. There is no deadline on your dreams, and there is no age at which you're supposed to do this. You can start a business at 18. You can quit the job you had out of college at 24. You can go back to technical school after getting a master's at 31. You can literally adopt a child at the age of 39 when you're single. You can go to nursing school after you've raised your kids and you're 42 years old. You can learn how to teach your first online course at the age of 48. You could become a podcast host at the age of 54. You could get married for the first time at 63. You could skydive at 71. You could run your first marathon at 82. Your dreams do not disappear. There is no age at when you can't do something or when you're too early. It's complete bullshit. Your dreams are something you were born with. They are your responsibility, and they are also the life force inside of you. So stop running away from them and turn toward them. Run toward your dreams. Stop arguing against them and be the loudest voice for them. And for crying out loud, stop extinguishing that flame that's burning inside you. Enough with the excuses. Enough with the jokes and the downplaying. Enough with this fear. Your job is to turn toward that flame. Turn toward that flame and freaking fan it. Fan it with all your might. That flame inside you is supposed to burn bright. And the only way that that's going to happen is when you are honest with yourself about that thing you've been denying, about that calling that you feel, about the fact that you're meant for more than where you're at right now, that you deserve to be happy, that those dreams are real, and you have within you the ability to chip away at them, and that when you wake up every single day and you write down those 5 dreams, and you see and you hear and you feel the fact that your life has clues, your life is trying to help you. Your life is trying to help you become who you're destined to become. I want you to know something. You're going to wake up happier every day. You're going to wake up feeling more alive and more self-expressed and more connected and energized when you wake up for your dreams. The businesses that were launched by somebody like you who was working full-time while launching your business had a 33% less chance of failing than the people that quit their jobs and jump all in. And the reason why is you know how to hedge your bets. You're a little conservative in terms of the risks that you'll take, which means over the long term, your business is more likely to succeed. You asked me, how do I balance my passions? How do you find the time? Because I, like you, have a million things going on. From being an on-air commentator to CNN, to having an incredible partnership with Success Magazine and doing a ton of cool stuff with them, to giving over 80 speeches a year and running a company and having a family. The key is this. You must find 30 minutes before 7:30 in the morning. 30 minutes before 7:30 that you take at home, that you take at a coffee shop, where you organize your day and you work on 2 things that will push your business forward. 30 minutes before 7:30. Why do you need to do this? Well, because when you walk into work, your day is likely going to get hijacked. And secondly, if you were to take this time every single morning and focus yourself, you're now starting your day having already done work to advance your business, and you're walking into your current job knowing what you need to get done. That's going to make you work smarter at work. I think a lot of people that are working a job full time and also trying to launch a business on the side actually have the time. The problem is that you're not being rigorous and focused about what you're spending it on. Anxiety, if this is the first time you're thinking about it, anxiety is what happens when you are worrying about something in the future that makes you feel uncertain or makes you feel like you're going to lose control. That's it. Anxiety is when you start worrying about things in the future that make you feel uncertain or make you feel like you're about to lose control, and you start to get a stomach ache, or you start to feel tightness in your throat, or you start to shake your hands, or you start to have your heart race, or you start to have sweaty palms. Your body starts to get agitated because you're really busy worrying about the test tomorrow. You're really busy worrying about whether or not you're going to throw up. You're really busy worrying about that sleepover and whether or not it's going to go okay. You're really busy worrying about whether or not your friends are going to talk to you when you walk into school today. Or you're busy worrying that something might happen to your parents. Why did I give you those examples? There was a specific reason why. The top worries that kids 12 and under have are, number 1, throwing up. Now, why would throwing up cause kids anxiety? Because as an adult, you've probably done it a bunch. And so you know, you throw up, it's over, it sucks, but that's it. There's no sense getting yourself worked up about it. But for kids, this is the number one thing that kids are afraid of, because it is an enormous loss of control when it happens. And it scares a lot of kids to have that happening to them because their brains aren't matured and they don't understand that it's just a moment. So they're not actually worried about the throwing up. They're having anxiety because they're thinking that it could happen at some point, and that makes their body feel weird. And then, of course, because their body feels weird, it makes them certain that it's coming. I mean, kids can actually, I have a son that actually made himself throw up because he got so worked up thinking that he might, that he caused himself to. This is a true story. Absolutely true story. So I have lived this. Being worried about you dying, major cause of worry for kids. They think about it. And if they think about it too much and they don't have a process and a plan around how to live with that very normal fear, it will turn into anxiety. The social pressures of being accepted, going to a sleepover and being worried about what's going to happen because you've never been to the house before. You don't really like dogs and they have one. Your friend's dad kind of scares you. What time are we going to go to bed? You see, there's a lot of uncertainty that we adults don't think about when it relates to sleepovers at new friends' houses that your kids are worrying about. And if they stay up here and they start worrying about all the uncertainty, it's going to cause their body to start to freak out. And then the whole thing starts to spiral. And next thing they don't want to go, or they get there and they're on edge and they need to come home. Again, we've had that situation in our family too, where the inability to tolerate the uncertainty of something that's supposed to be fun. When am I going to bed? What are we going to eat? Will I throw up on there? Are they going to like me? What are their parents like? What TV are we going to watch? What time are you picking me up in the morning? All of those unanswered questions and the inability to tolerate the uncertainty of that triggers the anxiety in your kids. This is what's happening in their brains. The rejection of friends. You know, the group dynamics of kids, particularly in middle school, brutal. You couldn't pay me millions of dollars to go back to middle school at this point. But your kids are walking into it every day and they're worrying about whether or not they're being accepted, because every moment in school is a moment of uncertainty about whether or not you're going to get the answer right, whether or not people are going to laugh, whether or not you're wearing the right things. And so again, these are all the things that trigger your child to worry, because they are racked with situations that cause uncertainty and that make our kids feel like they might lose control. Now, here's the major mistake that you and I make as parents. When our kids start to worry, or when our kids start to feel anxious, which is the agitation in their body, you know what you and I immediately do? We immediately try to fix it. We swoop right in, and we start to either say, you're going to be okay, and we assure them, because we're trying to fix it, right? We're trying to make the worry go away. We say, oh, well, this is going to happen, and that's going to happen, and this is going to happen. And so we answer all their questions, and we start to put in all kinds of certainty for them. And that is the exact opposite thing that you and I should be doing. And it's not our fault. We've kind of been doing it forever, haven't we? I mean, we're always worried about our kids. And so we put up gates at the top of stairs so that they don't fall down. We've got child locks on caps so that they don't eat anything. We stopped buying the Tide Pods because we didn't want them to choke on it. Like, as parents, we're constantly anticipating things that could go wrong. We're putting in controls. And so it is natural for you and me to jump into fix-it mode. If you want to get your kid to move beyond the grip of anxiety, you have to understand how your behavior is contributing to the anxiety itself. See, one of the things that I believe about anxiety is the reason why we develop it and the reason why we keep it around is because it works. I mean, if your kid is anxious and they start freaking out, they don't have to go to school. So all of a sudden, that situation that they felt uncomfortable around, they've now gained control because the anxiety worked. You swooped in, you fixed it, you said, that's okay, you don't have to go. And the problem with doing this is that we might be managing the momentary breakdown, but we are not teaching our kids a critical skill in life, and that is the ability the ability to tolerate not knowing, and the ability in the face of not knowing to assure yourself that no matter what, you'll figure it out. That is one of the most critical things that you could teach your kids. The self-reliance, the resiliency, the courage, and the confidence to know that even though I feel a little nervous and even though I don't have all the answers, I can trust that I can figure it out. And so that's the kind of biggest picture, that I want you to switch your mind from thinking you got to fix this for your kids. And that's us buying into the anxiety. And realize that when anxiety is present, it means that your child, my child, can't cope with uncertainty. And now as a parent, it's my job to teach them how.
Your brain doesn't know the difference between an event that you have closed your eyes and imagined and an event that you've actually done. And so here's what's really cool. What I just told you is manifesting. Manifesting done correctly is when you use your procedural memory as a tool to train your brain, your nervous system, your spirit to help you feel motivated and to help you do the work that actually changes your life. How cool is that? I want to be very clear about something. Manifesting gets a bad rap because of the law of attraction, but manifesting is not woo-woo at all. It's not a cheesy topic. Manifesting is not just think about something that you want and suddenly it'll magically appear. Manifesting is when you use your procedural memory and you visualize the step-by-step actions that you need to take in order to make your big goal to become a reality. You see, manifesting isn't the end, everybody. Manifesting is the bridge. It's the series of actions that you're going to take in order to have this new habit.
When you allow yourself to envision the thing you deeply want the most. Like I have the same thing about launching a podcast. If I really allow myself to believe it, it's that we will be the number one podcast, period. And I can feel it. That is my soul pulling me forward.
Totally.
But what's keeping me from really going all in and doing the work is this deep sense that I still am not worthy of the things that I want.
Yep.
And so the battle for you is not, well, for me, it's not with fear. It's with this opinion that I don't deserve to be happy, or I don't deserve and I'm not worth or not good enough to have something that magnificent. And that is what holds me back. What you're dealing with when you have imposter syndrome is you're dealing with a lack of self-worth. You literally kind of see all the things working out, but you've got this like annoying voice in your head that's saying, you don't deserve this. This is luck. How many of you have that story? This is luck. This is going to run out. This isn't due to me. Yeah, we got to literally destroy that voice. That is from your past. And part of the reason why you have that voice, by the way, is because of racism. It's because of discrimination. It's because of childhood trauma. It's because of various experiences that you've had, where either your experiences growing up or society at large has made you feel either overtly or in a really like gross and sort of sly way, like you don't belong. And so it is critical for you to start to punch that voice literally out of your head. And I'm going to give you some steps to do it, okay? The second thing that's really important is that in addition to stopping down that voice, because it's not your voice, that is somebody else's voice that your brain listened to and then started repeating. And the thing about your brain is that your brain is this really cool computer that learns patterns. And what I want you to understand is that patterns repeat unless you break and replace them. And if you have a pattern of thinking, like what Heidi has, that says, you're not worthy, you don't deserve this, luck is gonna run out, at some point, the you know what's gonna hit the fan again, brace, don't count on anything, like you didn't earn this. If you got that pattern running in your head, that is a broken pattern. You're not broken. That pattern of thinking is broken. And so the line in the sand that I want to draw starting today is you're not allowed to listen to that garbage anymore. We are going to go on a mission together to notice whenever it comes up. Oh, interesting. There it is. There's that pattern. It's spinning just like a load of laundry right up there. And I'm going to teach you, once you recognize that pattern, you're going to use this thing that I created called the 5-second rule. You're going to count backwards 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, because that shuts that down. And counting backwards, let's all do it together. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now notice when you counted, did you feel a little pressure right here? Yeah, that was me hypnotizing you. No, I'm just kidding. What you were feeling is by counting backwards, it's a little brain hack that interrupts all the garbage that's here in the interior part of your brain. This is where imposter syndrome lives, everybody. This is where anxiety is. This is where self-doubt is. This is where self-criticism is. This is where it's all stored. When you notice, oh, there's that voice again, and you count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you shut it down, and then you awaken this part of your brain. This is the part of the brain that you used when you were taking the SATs. This is the part of the brain that you used when you applied for that job, when you speak up in that meeting, when you tell somebody, no, you cannot borrow my dress tonight. No. When you have boundaries, right? This is the part of the brain that gives you immediate control over what you think and do next. And so that's a really important thing. Number one, you're going to notice it. Number two, you're going to name it. So let's give that jerk in your brain a name. So Heidi, what do you want to name this thing? Like close your eyes and think about it. And everybody close your eyes and think about like that voice, that nasty, stinky, awful, skanky, gross voice in your head. I want to kind of get an image in your mind. It could be a cartoon character. It could be a human being. It could be like some little pimply, ugly person from middle school that you feel sorry for now. Okay? Yeah, because when you laugh at the voice, it doesn't have control over you like it did, right? We want to make this less serious. So what's the name you're going to give your voice?
Well, I was thinking the voice, but maybe something like, I don't know, Rocky, Spiky.
Spiky. Okay. What name do you want to give your voice, Linda?
Bob.
Bob. Okay. How do you say your name?
Sedania.
Sedania.
Yes.
Great name. What are you going to give your voice?
Maybe Peabody.
Peabody. I got it. I got it. Okay. How about you? What's your voice?
Bill.
Bill. Ooh, conviction. There's a human being like that talking to you. Bill, we are going to shut Bill down, okay? What about Isabella?
Broccoli.
Broccoli?
I hate broccoli.
She hates broccoli. I love that. That's great. How about you?
Josh.
Josh. Okay, great. So whenever you hear that voice, what I'm teaching you is to use the science of objectivity to distance yourself from that voice. Okay? This is so important because you are not that voice. Welcome in, everybody. Actually, pull up your chairs closer. Do not sit that far away from me. Come on. Yep, let's go. You are not late. You are right on time. Let's welcome them in. Okay? Yep, louder. Clap louder. Super important, everybody, in life to make people feel welcome. Super important to invite people, especially other women, to have a seat at the table. And one of the things that I've learned, and then I'm going to catch you all up on where we're at, okay? One of the things I've learned is that, there's so much success to go around. Have you wrapped your brain around the fact that there are, 8 billion people on this planet? There is so much success to go around. There's so much happiness. There's a tremendous amount of money to make. There's a ton of people to date. And when you focus on the fact that there is limitless possibilities for you, you're not in competition with anybody in this room. And the louder you cheer for other people, the more you invite people in, the more you will be invited in and the more cheering there will be for you. It is incredible when you can flip your mind from being jealous and competitive and small-minded, like if she's getting that, it means I don't. Oh, no. If you see somebody getting something that you want, it's evidence that you can have it too. You're just going to get it and have it in your own way. And so you want to make it a habit to cheer for and celebrate all the women, everybody you see around you, because their success means you can have it too. And trust me, if you are a talented, hardworking, kind person, a company will make room for you. they will find another job doing that same thing. And so you focus on you. You focus on being the best you. And I promise you, all the other people around you that are having those things that you want, that's evidence you can have it too. I like to think of other people as a light on the path I'm walking down. They're shining a light that helps me walk in the direction of what I want. When's the last time you felt excited because you were up to something that was either cool, or it was new, or it was exciting? You know, I think about times in my life when I was up to something. It's like those moments of anticipation. I was applying to college, or I was applying to law school, or I was making a decision that I was going to leave a job that I didn't like, or even after a breakup, you know, where you're newly single and you feel like, whoa, oh, I love how many of you are saying right now, I feel like I'm up to something. Right now, you know, I feel like I could be a part of something. Or maybe for many of you who are saying, I don't feel that way, Mel. I'm feeling like my life is pretty stagnant. It was a long time ago. I can't remember when. I want to have you imagine something. Imagine how energizing and exciting it would be to wake up every day and feel like you're a part of something really cool. Imagine if you made a decision that starting literally today, you were going to be up to something. You were going to push yourself. You know, it makes me kind of sad, everybody, how many of you are sitting there saying, I can't even remember. I've lost my direction. And I want to tell you something. If you feel lost, if you feel stuck, if you feel like it has been way too long since you've had something that you've looked forward to, I want to tell you something. You deserve to have that energy back in your life. You deserve to get the push that you need. Because last night was a reminder of something. You know, it's so easy, and I know that I can fall into this too. It's so easy to kind of get stuck in your rut, especially after working from home for 2 years, especially after coming through the pandemic, especially after being in this routine of isolation and feeling like nothing is ever going to change. Last night for me, being in New York City and just coming down and being with friends and seeing how energizing it is to be around people that are up to something, it reminded me of this piece of research that when you hear it, it sounds kind of stupid, right? But then when you stop and think about it, it's so true. When researchers study happiness, you want to know something crazy about happy people? Happy people are just prioritizing and making time to do the little things that make them happy. And what we also know, and you know this too, that when you look forward and you see things in your calendar, just this weekend, for example, just this weekend having something that you've planned, something that you're going to be a part of, that just having something just out in the near future to look forward to, it gives you 2 bursts of energy, 2. Number 1, the planning of it makes you think about it, right? And as you anticipate it and you anticipate what something is going to be like, you get this burst of energy. And then the doing of it makes you feel energized and excited again, okay? And so last night, when I came down here to New York City to support my friend Tunde and be a part of her big event here in New York, launching her book, just thinking about the fact that it was coming up made me feel excited and energized. And being there made me feel excited and energized. When I hear the word leadership, I think about influence. So let's first talk about, what does the word influence actually mean, okay? So influence is the power that you have to affect the actions, behaviors, and opinions of other people. In short, it means you have the influence to move somebody from point A to point B. Now, there are 2 kinds of influence that all leaders have. Internal influence, and that's the power that you have over yourself. And in my opinion, This type of influence is the single most important type of influence to practice and cultivate that will impact your ability to impact others. Internal influence is your ability to move yourself from point A to point B. Because one of the things about being a great leader is knowing how to be flexible, knowing how to change, knowing how to pivot, knowing how to grow. And that means you've got to have influence over yourself. The other type of influence is external influence. And that is your ability to move other people from point A to point B. You know, we all have had these experiences, right, where we've been around other leaders. We've been around people that have had that implied influence, right, because of their position, because of their title. But I guarantee you've had the experience where you've had to work for or been around another leader, but they have not been that influential on you. They were either a jerk or a micromanager, or they showed up in a way that made you feel awful. You have had that experience. And one of the reasons why I want to hammer home this point, that it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what you do. Leadership, the best kind of leadership and the most powerful kind of influence is the type that's earned. It has nothing to do with your position. It has nothing to do with your title. It has everything to do with how you show up and the way in which you treat other people. I want you to understand that the most important aspect of raising your influence and of becoming a better and a more influential leader is deciding that you want to be and claiming that leadership role in your life. When you look at leadership, and Brendan's right, it's super important that you're a student your whole life, that leadership is something that you should study. When you start to look into leadership, you're going to see that there's all kinds of books, there's all kinds of philosophies. There are servant-based leaders, there are transformational leaders, there are situational leaders, there are people who are authoritarian leaders. There's a bazillion different leadership styles. Well, what I want you to think about is, what kind of leader do you want to be? And there are two questions that I think are important for you to ask yourself. And the reason why it's important for you to ask yourself these two questions is because they will give you a roadmap that maps to your values and maps to your goals and maps to who you are in terms of cultivating a leadership style. Adopt a simple habit. Every single morning, I do a very simple thing. I write down 5 things that I want. That's it. When I start my day, after I get up when the alarm rings, I make my bed, I pull on my exercise clothes, I set an intention, I high-five myself in the mirror, I then go out into the kitchen, I crack open my high-five journal, and then inside the journal there are prompts that walk me through the steps of visualizing. And the first prompt is dream with the lid off. Set your spirit free. Write down 5 things every morning that you want. And this is important because when you get what you want out of your head and you physically put them on a piece of paper, research shows that you're 42% more likely to achieve those goals simply by writing them down. That's pretty cool. Secondly, your mind is paying attention. And when you take deliberate action and you write down what you want, you are signaling to your brain that you deserve to have these things. You are signaling to your brain that you do want those things. You're not just going to think about them. These are things that matter to you. And that helps train your mind to allow you to let the desires flow through you. Because right now, you're not manifesting properly because you're not even allowing yourself to dream with the lid off. So that's step number 1. You're going to start writing down 5 things that you want every single morning as a way to train your mind to let you dream freely. Neuroscience, academic research, and other people's personal experiences can provide unbelievable insights into how, when, and why behavior change efforts on your part can succeed or fail. And I want you to have all of this and be able to use it to your advantage. I already mentioned that 81% of people give up on their goals. Well, guess what? That's not going to be you, because you, my friend, are going to have the science, the tools, the strategies, the shortcuts to not only making change happen, but making it stick. And so this awesome series that we are programming and bringing to life for you is going to begin today with the topic of goal setting. Because one of the things that I know based on the research is that no change will last in your life if it's not personally connected to you. And no goal will be achieved if you don't have a connection to why you want to achieve it. And so I figured if we're going to do a big series that's going to give you the foundational aspect and most recent research around changing your life, we better start with an episode where you identify personal, relevant, and achievable goals that you're excited about. That way, every single other episode that you hear in this series for the next month or so, it's going to help you achieve something that really matters to you. And the fact is, goals matter. According to the research, and you probably have experienced this when you have been working on goals, goals matter because number one, they make you happier. Number two, they suppress negative emotions. And in fact, based on some groundbreaking research out of the University of Wisconsin, having goals that you're working on can even suppress feelings of fear and depression. I mean, that's pretty cool. Third, goals give you a sense of purpose, meaning, and being up to something. In fact, I just had a conversation with our daughter, Sawyer, who was saying that she's kind of in a rut. She's like, I just feel like my life is the same old, same old. Like every day is the same damn day. And it's only gotten worse because she works remote, and she's worked remote for over a year and a half since she first interned for the company she works for as a senior in college. She's almost never gone into the office. No holiday parties, no nothing in person. Every day she sits at her desk at home and works virtually. She hangs out with her roommates who she loves, but it's like the same thing in and out. You want to know what's going to fix this? Goals. Because when you have goals, it interrupts the day-to-day doldrum. It gives you something to look forward to. It makes you feel like something cool is happening. And that leads me to the fourth benefit. Life is harder when you have no goals. Based on the research, having goals makes your life feel easier. And I think even just that little story I just told you about my daughter feeling like she's in a rut, you can see that when you're in a rut, life is hard. When you feel stuck, when things are monotonous, it's hard. When you got something that excites you, something that you're working toward, that's pretty awesome. And that's why you and me, we are going to start with your goals because they matter. And what also matters is how you set them. Because if you don't set goals the right way, based on science, you fail before you even start. And that was Mel Robbins for years. Angie, why is it so easy to fill out limiting beliefs, but almost paralyzing to figure out an alternative, think this, not that? How many of you are having trouble with this? It's very easy to see where you doubt yourself, but it's super hard to come up with the alternative thought that you're going to substitute. Well, the reason why it's hard is because you actually believe these thoughts. And these thoughts have become patterns, and they've become habits, and they've become so prevalent in your life that they're almost like the co-host of your life. If you think about it, you are the star of your life. But if the supporting actor is a limiting belief that constantly tells you that you're not good enough, or that you're not worthy, or that you'll never succeed, then it's no wonder that you believe it, because the co-star of your life is your limiting beliefs. And so it's not easy to change your limiting beliefs, but it is simple. And it begins with you identifying them and then substituting them. So the most, I think, effective way of beginning the process of teaching yourself how to identify a limiting belief and then come up with your own substitute positive belief as a way to change the negative pattern in your mind is to use the power of objectivity. So write down all your limiting beliefs. And I'm going to go through this in detail in just a second. Write down all your limiting beliefs. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. Nothing works out for me. Nobody's going to love me. Whatever the it is that you think that's bringing you down. And then you can ask yourself this: what would Mel say? If Mel were sitting here across from me, what would Mel say? Another thing you can do, you can write the opposite of what you're thinking. And you may not believe it. It's okay, because what we're doing is training you in a new pattern. And one of the things that Angie asked is she wanted to know, what were my limiting beliefs? So yesterday we sent out this workbook, the Best Decade Ever Toolkit. It's in your email. If you go to the Facebook group, Best Decade Ever with Mel Robbins, it's also listed on the files. You'll find the download for this. Check your junk email if you didn't get it. But so my limiting beliefs. So I want to have the #1 talk show of the decade. And the #1 talk show of the decade right now seems to be Ellen. And so it's interesting because a lot of my limiting beliefs, I think, are provoked by the fact that I'm the newcomer in a space that I have huge dreams of making a mark in and dominating. So one of my limiting beliefs is someone's already done it. How many of you have that one? My dream has already been done. So my substitute thought, because this feels kind of true, doesn't it? Somebody's already done it. And then my substitute thought, the think this, not that, is, well, they haven't done it my way yet. It hasn't been done by me yet. Do you see what I mean? So somebody else has done it. Okay, I get it. It hasn't been done by me yet. It'll never happen. It'll never happen. How many of you have that limiting belief? It'll never happen. My substitute belief, it hasn't happened yet. So I'm acknowledging that it hasn't happened, but I'm adding on the yet as a way to keep my mind in the positive. It didn't happen last time, so it's not going to happen this time. How many of you have that one? Yeah. This is what I say. I wasn't ready then. I'm ready now. Because it didn't happen last time because I didn't know everything I know now. I'm ready now. I don't deserve it. How many of you have this limiting belief? I don't deserve it. My thought is, if I work hard, I'll earn it. Do you see that? So it flips from a statement where I'm bashing my self-worth, I don't deserve it, to a statement about putting in the effort. If I work hard, I'll earn it. Oh, I've got this story that I'm the bad news bears. That I'm literally like the person with the worst equipment, and I'm the underdog, and I'm underfunded, and why does it have to be so hard, and why does it seem so much easier for everybody else, and blah, 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 blah. And I flip that into, I love being underestimated, and I love being the underdog. In a very weird way, as much as it exhausts me, it also empowers me. Here's a specific limiting belief. How the am I going to compete with Ellen? I can't compete with Ellen. Especially when she's been at it for 20 years. She has the budget of God and an army of people that are supporting her. I mean, there was something she did announce yesterday on social media that I was so like, oh, of course. And I was so jealous. She announced a partnership with Starbucks where she's encouraging people to pay for somebody's coffee using the Starbucks app behind them in line. And then take a video of it and upload it. And they're going to bring them on the show. And I was like, oh, will I ever get there? Will I ever get to do cool stuff like that? And the answer is yeah. She proves it's possible. And also, I can take the 10 years and be like, and in 20 years, I won't even recognize the cool stuff I'll be able to do if I put in the work. So take that jealousy or somebody else or whatever and say it proves it's possible. Now put in the work. So those are some of my limiting beliefs, and that's how you can do it. And by the way, if you can't do that exercise successfully on your own, post in the Facebook group and tell people this is your limiting belief. Can somebody help you come up with a substitute positive belief so that you can think this, not that? Ask somebody in your life to help you. And then what you do is when you find yourself going down the route of that negative thought, it'll never happen. You're going to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, use the 5-second rule to interrupt the negative belief. And then you are going to insert the positive belief. It hasn't happened yet.
That's it.
How you can interrupt negative thoughts and flip into a positive mindset. And why would you want to do that? Well, the reason why you want to do that is because your thoughts lead you in a particular direction. And if you start to allow your mind to dwell on negative outcomes, if you start to obsess that things are not going to work out, if you allow yourself to continue to think negative thoughts, you're not only priming your mind to default to negative, but you will literally, through your thoughts, trigger negative actions. You know, if you think about it, you've had experiences in your life, right, where you've really trashed yourself. You've hated on yourself. And when you continually think that you hate yourself, or you continually tell yourself that you're screwing up, you tend to do things that you hate, don't you? But when you're in a positive mindset, when you're in an optimistic mindset, when you interrupt those negative thoughts and you start to say, well, maybe it is going to work out, or, you know, I got to just keep on going. Your thoughts literally can trigger positive action too. Part of creating a better life is having moments that you're going to have to navigate, where you get triggered by something stupid or something profound, and all these emotions come up and you say, F it. And I do not want you to give up in those moments. I do not want you to throw in the towel or throw out the Christmas cards or say, I can't do it. I mean, that's what I did yesterday. I felt that huge wave. I said, that's it, F it. I came up into the office and I started crying, and I said to the team, I can't do this. I can't talk about habits. I can't even get Christmas cards out in the mail. I can't do this. I went to my husband and my daughter and I said, I'm not doing 75 hard. I got too much going on. This is not the time for me to do this. Like, I'm setting myself for failure. And you know what they said? They said, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And they sat there and they listened to me whine and whine and whine. And Chris looked at me and he said, Mel, you got to have a breakthrough. You have to take on something that feels hard. And you have to do it for longer than the month or the, 45 days that you've done it in the past. And right now is the perfect time. The fact that you're feeling the it just 4 days in, this is a good thing, Mel, because it's pushing buttons in you. And so what was interesting, because it's pushing buttons in you. And you know what? He's right. He's absolutely right. And so I went to bed, like immediately. I didn't even want to tempt myself because I was so frazzled. I went to bed, I slept all night, and when I woke up this morning and came up to work, what was so interesting is that life doesn't always give you what you want, but it does give you what you need. And I think f*** moments sometimes are what you need, because you need to see that you can have a moment where you want to give up, and you can even screw up in those moments. And you can get back on the transformation train and you can keep going. That you are bigger than the f*** it moment, that the f*** it moment is there to test you. It's there because it's part of the process of growing.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video, because you are awesome. For 10 more amazing rules from Marie Forleo, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
I needed to put into practice 3 simple words that would go on to change the entire trajectory of my career, my business, and my life. I still use these 3 words to this day. Are you ready for them?